Jazz is more of music in the moment and more, free for improvisation and things like that. I grew up right near Monterey, and my father's been going since the very first one in 1958. So yeah, he started taking me the first time in 1977, I think, and yeah, that was one of the first concerts I remember going to, was Count Basie Big Band. It kind of got me interested in wanting to play the drums, actually, seeing that band. It was really super strong, swinging band. That's what really got me interested in wanting to play music, I think, was actually hearing the music live, as much as just hearing the records, hearing records around the house. I grew up in a house with a lot of music. Yeah, there was always, my parents were always listening to records, and most of the time jazz, sometimes the odd Johnny Cash record or blues sometimes, or, Ray Charles and stuff like that. I started off just doing little bits and pieces for some of my father's films. He'd ask me to write a little piece of music for a scene or something, and so it started off that way, just a little bit at a time, and then I kind of worked my way up into doing more and more until it was doing all the music for the films. But yeah, we've worked together on, I think, about 6 or 7, I think, of his films over the years, maybe more, I don't know. Usually, I watch the film, more or less it's finished, more or less cut together, and so I watch it all the way through and try and get a sense of the story and sort of the emotion of it, and then after watching it once through, you kind of go back and pick maybe 2 or 3 or 4 scenes that you think really need music, or the most important scenes, musical scenes. And yeah, and then start trying to come up with something from there. I usually just I take home a DVD of those scenes and just sit down at the piano and try and write something that fits. music for film is, I mean, you're writing something that's supporting what's an image already that's on the screen. So it's much more of a supporting role, and there's a lot more like rules to follow, and there's dialogue that you can't get in the way of, and certain times things have to fall in certain places, and on certain cuts. So that can be a challenge sometimes, musically. But for me, the thing I find the most musically satisfying is to play, on stage, play with musicians and play live, But I mean, I like working in the studio, and I think making film music, it's a totally different kind of challenge. So I enjoy doing both, it's fun. It's fun to do both, but I mean, jazz and playing live is the most fun for me. Musicians in Europe. I mean, I play with a lot of musicians in France, especially, and in England and London, around the London scene. So, I don't know. I think they like a lot of different styles. I mean, it's maybe like jazz musicians in the States are a little more set in one sort of type of thing. But I think maybe they have a little bit broader appreciation, I think, sometimes of music and different styles of jazz and different styles of music in general, I think, here. I've heard a couple of good pianists from Portugal, though, and yeah, and of course I know, the fado, and I've heard some great music here. So,
thank you very much. Obrigado. Thank you.
I love all kinds of music, I'm sort of the, I don't know if it's a real quote or not, but I think they quote it as Duke Ellington saying that there's only two kinds of music, good and bad, So, I mean, I sort of believe that, really, because I can listen to anything if it's good and it's, it moves you, and, it doesn't matter what label they put on it.
Action.